See, this is the beauty and value of keeping silent. Why? Long story short, I could say like this. Mr. Wesley Blanchard, I guess you took several trips to Georgia just on the low key unless somebody came and visited you. But it don't even matter. Or it could matter because either way, was she not from the West Coast? But I guess she could validate the fact that I had a 45 llama, one, or she potentially jammed it, or I had also 2 ounces of weed too, right? But what does she know? Cali, right? But has she not smelled good weed before? Great question. But I do a little even better investigation on this one because I could say this. What? Let's just contemplate on this. What could I say in less than 13 minutes? Even from 8th grade to what? I want to say to when I last left Kentucky. I still start fuck with you because literally you just have no fucking common sense or think that somebody just likes to quote unquote go through your bullshit and then you could be a voucher for them quote unquote or what? Saying that you had to pay somebody $100, but yes, still I paid several people $100, but several people also gave me $100. One worked for MTV. Okay, that's one. One is no longer living right now. God rest her soul. And several potential other people, but we'll leave them out of it in this moment. We'll talk to the ones that I gave per se out of Bank of America, and we'll just leave that as what it is because they know, how can I say, 6805 better said. Those remaining digits, Boston knows it because I told it in front of an officer, several people, and literally, so does Albany. And so does quote unquote New York, where I opened up my account to actually where I started spending money in Kentucky. How smart are you for this one? You thought you just had the easy cop out on me switching from there to Kentucky Telco, right? Nah, never that easy. We're still going to continue because just people like the power circle and just don't think that they have a way out or a way in. Your way in is basically doing what gets you out, but literally you have no out. So I'll give you this one. What's the value of knowing genetics? I have to do this very, very quickly, and it's kind of hard to explain because every person or green thumb is entitled to what? Their own grow method, right or wrong? Definitely right. But at the same time period, what is wrong is when you can't put a number behind it and I actually can double back per se and verify where the fuck you got your genetics from. That's a problem because for me per se, I'm a medicinal smoker. So you call it me being crazy? No. I just know the value of basically what's around that facility, which is basically what my quote unquote friend, but not friend, but friend more so, graduated from. We're a friend on personal level, yes. Not friend when it comes to military, and we are a friend at the end because he's entitled to retire and know what the fuck I know when he does retire. So I tell you this, the growth process is chemistry itself because anybody can create a plant. It just takes water and sun. Chlorophyll is what basically grows the plant itself. But yet still, what makes it its medicinal properties is what should be known because if you don't know where the hell the water's coming from and what type of water quality you have, hard water, soft water, etc., you're screwed. And it's even worse when literally, how can I say like this? You don't even know the value of the soil per se, like someone else said. But we'll leave music out of this one right now. So even for a medicinal patient in this case, when you're transitioning from city to city, the value of it is priceless because literally, as I just said, the growth process is extremely important. You do not want to put yourself in a chemical psychosis and literally screw your doctor over improperly for them not telling you basically what they should, every medicinal doctor should tell you. Or even quote unquote recreational facility before you get to the medicinal doctor is what? Know the value of the quote unquote or the source point of your genetics. Either way, the properties in which it represents, yes, it's because it's hybrid. Which way is it leaning? Is it sativa leaning? Is it indica leaning? Everything has its own properties, but it gets a little deeper than that because you could say, yeah, it's a hybrid. I get best of both worlds. That's what Gorilla Glue is to an extent. To an extent, it is a hybrid, but yes, still, what is its properties? See, when you dig a little deeper, there's actually names in which each property holds, and which makes it that purpose of being sativa and etc., indica, so on and so forth. But literally, those two doctors that I actually have under my belt, they're blessed. But the original one is the most blessing because she's the one that gets the hair. So eat that, but don't eat that the wrong way, because somebody, quote unquote, was basically saying that I was potentially on campus acting a donkey or acting an ass. But literally, is not your school, quote unquote, have a quote unquote let's say an ROTC program, and aren't they not entitled to basically wake your ass up in an emergency purposes? Hello. But either way, you should be happy you woke up, because literally you might have had your ass too much fun the night before, and somebody around you basically might have needed that quote unquote Spike Lee movie, wake up. But either way, the composition of sativa has several different properties, and I have those, but literally that's for you to figure out, because this is not for everybody to basically say that they're smarter than me, but just basically smarten up and do your research. So even when you are cooking or making alcoholic beverages, everything has a property behind it, because how can I say this like this? Khalifa Kush said what? Wiz Khalifa basically said what? I smoke and then I drink my orange juice. What's the value of that? It's properties, right? Alcohol. There's several people that actually make alcoholic drinks, yes. But literally, what's the number behind and what you're putting in that alcohol before you actually, quote unquote, validate what? It's actively effective, or the amount of THCs that is actually exacerbating potentially. Because once you add alcohol to something, it automatically what? Mutates and exacerbates everything prior and after. Because weed, yes, you may smoke it one time, but yes, still, it burns out quicker because it hasn't actually set into your quote-unquote fat cells, depending on if it's medicinal or not. But yet still, if you're fat, you have a whole hell of a lot of work to do to get that shit out, especially if you're a quote-unquote fun time or playtime recreational smoker. But when you're medicinal level, it's a whole different ball game, because literally, everybody says I'm not disabled, but what does this say? I bring it up closer to you. Yeah, Medicare. But either ways, even when you cook it with numbers, it still exacerbates it and potentially makes it worse, because yet still, you still have to actually hold it and keep it at that original state in which those chemicals actually stay most effectively medicinally. So even temperature comes into play into this. And then, what is the alcohol in comparison to beer, wine, and even moonshine? All of those have what? Different, not necessarily levels, but it is levels of quote unquote alcohol volume. You can have an 80% alcohol, but you can also have a drunk that can handle that 80% like it's water. Or you can actually have a beginning drinker in this case and actually what? Smoke way more than the actual what? Alcoholic can. But when that alcoholic actually smokes that weed, it potentially may make them vomit depending on what they've actually consumed and whether or not the medicinal properties or recreational properties actually affects it or not. But I'm not a green thumb for no reason. And how can I say, Affinity wasn't stupid for making me wear the green thumb, but everybody thinks I'm a what? Junkie. Yeah. But every ID state-wise that I've ever had has always had what? Clean shaven, short hair potentially. And even if it wasn't short hair, how can I say like this? It was taken for a reason, just to validate the fact that I actually did have long hair before I actually left. Eat that again. So, with cooking in a microwave, what are you dealing with? Radiation. Oven, what are you dealing with? The chemicals within the oven, potentially if you even cleaned it prior to that, if you didn't clean it all the way out, and everything that you basically cleaned or cooked open and closed. But I take it a little bit deeper. You may even have a convection oven, but the one thing that you potentially can't beat is the salamander, where you actually have to stick it in there. Why? You can stick it in there, true, but if you're on papers, you're screwed. And then two, unless you put foil, it makes it some other property itself. So how smart are you that? Because literally, you still have adult daily living with this what? Mouthwash, which actually has, or it previously did have alcohol at one point in time. But who knows the value of Robitussin and testing, as they say. That's a whole different ball game because you're actually dealing with, how can I say, medication and then quote unquote alcohol too. So when they say sipping on some scissor, yeah, they sipping on some shit. But I don't do that shit. I don't do none of that shit. But literally, you give me some shit to where basically I have to deal with all of this shit around me while trying to go to school and quote unquote graduate. But like I said, I never told nobody I basically passed the ASVAB, but they misconstrued the fact that I called my dad Sarged and have a vehicle decal on the quote unquote window. But yet still, what's the value of TRICARE if you can't access it? You can have the vehicle, yes, but literally, what does that tell you? Is it an important vehicle or is it not? So for those in Florida that like to break into vehicles, like things don't just disappear or I wouldn't even recognize it, who's a smart one for this? You or me? But yes, still, when I got pulled over for the dude that actually gave me the bird, you see I'm giving it for a reason. Don't get it the wrong way. But what letter is it? For me, I see L at you, but for you, you probably see what, J, because you try to call me a junkie, but you're still wrong because if I'm still on probation from the military in this case, how do you actually win? You actually don't because what did they do? Let me skate. So then I still get back into Georgia in this case, right? And you're still looking to get me caught up. So we hit off of exit 99 and take this nice little ride 75, right? Or that's on 75, better said, but 99 is where you go to 300, that one eye view, and how you see how this is going to end because I have approximately about 2 minutes. So I'm on 300 in this case, and literally, what smart kid will actually pull in front of a truck thinking that I don't have a flashback or even know what the hell you're doing? Because literally, your per se is actually sacrificing yourself basically to get me caught up, but literally, you still screw yourself in this case because what? We both get the ticket, but literally, I have 2 ounces of weed, 2 dogs, if not 3 at the time period, 2 of potentially the same family, and then basically like this, people shouldn't record, and that's why I gave that bird that way. But either way, the third one is what? The gun that was right under the seat. But literally, what would it matter? It's still jammed, 1, but 2, I never fired it. It was just for the value of that contract in that city. If rent is $550 for a 2-bedroom washer and dryer, and basically potentially unlimited hot water, where am I wrong if I own a contract potentially worth $100,000 if not more? I give it the $100,000, but even still, y'all say why didn't I file my taxes? But literally, that's what got all y'all mad is that I didn't, because literally it's what got the company audited. Woo! Or what's this? Shh. I'm gonna talk my shit right now. So I'll give you a different version. You smoke papers, right? But yes, still, what's in your mouth prior to that? Did you drink? Oh, that's a whole different situation there. Did you brush your teeth? That's a whole different situation there. And then literally, as I gave you, you're still gonna drink after and what? Eat after. So how do you study your stomach with all those properties being put together? Great question, but you call me a junkie, but who likes to co-win when literally you goosed off on bullshit? Or be on bullshit, better said. Because literally, I'm doing all the wrong shit, but how can I say like this? It takes you to basically cancel the final method for me to clear my name and basically say what? You don't want me to go to EMT school? Take your ass back to the West Coast and enjoy that trip.